Hindustan Unilever Limited presents FinAce Season 6.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Hindustan Unilever Limited FinAce Season 6. I'm so thrilled to be sharing the room with India's youngest talent, students with the sharpest acumen in business and finance, and the next generation of business leaders. We are all really looking forward to the fresh ideas that you all will be bringing today to the podium. To engage with the brightest minds in the evolving and competitive world of finance, Hindustan Unilever brings to you FinAce Season 6 on the theme Driving Superior Business Performance the Sustainable Way. HUL is also India's largest FMCG with 50-plus brands which are a part of our everyday life and of millions of consumers across India and strives to make sustainable living a common practice. Now, HUL promises to be a leader in sustainable business by demonstrating how its purpose-led, future-fit business model drives superior performance and delivers consistent, competitive, profitable, and responsible growth. Now, moving on to the much coveted part of the evening, the part that our finalists have been waiting for months, their finale. But before we go any further, let me introduce you to this esteemed jury. First up, we have Sandip Khetan. Sandip is an Indian Chartered Accountant, US Certified Public Accountant, Company Secretary, and an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad with over 25 years of experience in the consulting and assurance industry, serving clients in USA, India, Middle East, and UK. Next, we welcome Lakshmi Iyer. Lakshmi has been with Kotak for over 22 years and has been recognized as one of the top 25 most influential women in asset management in Asia by Asian investors. Moving on, let's put our hands together for Ritesh Tiwari, Executive Director of Finance, HUL, and Chief Financial Officer, South Asia. Ritesh is a global leader with rich experience, driving diverse teams across UK, India, and also other markets. Welcome. Big round of applause going for our final jury member, Deepak Subramanian, Executive Director, Home Care at HUL. Deepak has been the driving force behind the home care agenda on making sustainable living a commonplace. A big welcome to our esteemed jury and all the members of Hindustan Unilever Limited. And moving on from jury to introducing you to our finalists for the evening. Team Triple Ace from the Indian School of Business. Team Ace of Spades from SP Jain Institute of Management and Research. Team ISB Fantastics from the Indian School of Business. And Team Survivors, Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. A big round of applause for all the finalists. We have had over 1,400 participants across 10 B schools geared up for the season. And to emerge as the finalists amidst such fierce competition is no mean feat. Now, the tension among all of you is palpable. Don't worry, we are almost there. But before I call you on stage to present your cases, I would like to welcome on stage Manish Satija and Samkit Jain to give us a brief on the case study for Hindustan Unilever Limited FinAce Season 6. Gentlemen.
Warm welcome to the esteemed jury members, FinAce finalists, and the audience. Reiterating, the theme for this year's FinAce case study is driving superior business performance the sustainable way.
Let me begin to share a quick snapshot of case study and expectations from the finalists. The case study is about ABC Limited, which is India's largest FMCG company with 50 plus brands under 3 divisions: home care, beauty and personal care, and foods and refreshment. Within home care division, the largest category is laundry. Laundry market size is 30,000 crore, in which we have bars, powders, and liquids. ABC continues to be the market leader with 40% market share and 35% gross margin. The key macroeconomic challenges faced by the business include hyperinflation. On top of that, growth slowdown and geopolitical headwinds are other challenges faced by the business.
ABC Limited is a company of brands and people with a clear purpose to make sustainable living a commonplace. Accordingly, it places high importance to sustainability and has made social commitments to tackle some of the key challenges like climate change, sustainable sourcing of raw materials, rethinking on plastic with the mantra of less plastic, better plastic, and no plastic. Now focusing on the problem statement, there is significant stress on the laundry category profitability due to hyperinflation of input prices. To protect margin, there is a need to increase prices of its product. However, due to overall market slowdown and highly competitive landscape, there is a risk on volume drop. On top of that, consumer preference for products which are better for environment has not translated into willingness to buy at a premium, leading to further dilution of margins. ABC Limited wants to remain competitive and deliver value for money for its consumers through a portfolio which is sustainable by design. At the same time, they want to preserve the margins to be able to invest back in its brands.
Task for the finalist is to wear the hat of a CFO and to present a business plan to real-world CXOs to launch a product portfolio to thrive and not just survive. With that, we wish all the best to all the finalists.
So thank you, Manish and Samkit. Before I call upon stage the first team for the evening, let me quickly run you all through the rules of the competition. So we all know there are 4 teams who are presenting today. Each team will have a total of 8 minutes to present their case. Once those 8 minutes are up, they will have a stipulated 5 minutes for a Q&A with the jury members. So without further ado, I'm going to call the first team onto the stage. First up, let's put our hands together for Team AAA's from the Indian School of Business. Your time starts now.
Traditionally dominated by big players, the laundry segment is now witnessing new entrants. Inflation, coupled with geopolitical situations, has caused input prices to skyrocket. Furthermore, the industry is highly competitive, and passing on this entire increase in cost to the consumers is not an option. Talking about the micro challenges, we want to make our product sustainable, but as we know, the consumers are not yet acceptable of paying a premium for sustainable products. Our company is at a mature stage in the laundry segment, and hence, growth is muted. Lastly, we are facing the risk of declining profit margins because of the rising marginal costs. Coming to the product portfolio strategy, currently our product mix is heavy on the powder detergent segment, which contributes to 55% of our revenue, as compared to the liquid detergent, which contributes currently only 10%. We lay our focus on doubling liquids contribution to our product mix to 20% over the next 5 years. Liquid detergents give us the highest profit margins since they command a premium, while the incremental cost of producing liquid detergents is not as high. India is developing at a rapid pace, with people migrating from rural to urban areas, rising household incomes, and higher participation of women in the workforce. We will see a demand shift from the bars to the powders and from powders to liquids. And this is not simply an anticipation, but can be very evidently seen from the developed markets. Today, powder detergents is virtually non-existent in the US and other developed markets. Also, liquids are primarily used by high-income households, where demand is relatively price inelastic. Thus, the liquid products give us more room for increasing prices. On the sustainability front as well, liquids are easily soluble, leading to less water consumption, and they are sold in relatively larger quantities, which would help reduce our plastic packaging.
Thank you, Sagar. So before talking about GTM, let us briefly understand the customer personas and identify the segment which aligns with our product portfolio, which essentially indexes more than 70% on liquid and powder formats across premium and popular brands. So there are 4 main demographic levers. Income level and geography determines the person's brand preference. Nature of job determines the purpose of the detergent, which could be a combination of fabric care, stain removal, whitening, etc. And availability of washing machine, which determines the format of detergent used. So with the customer persona in mind, the primary basis of segmentation we identified is income level, basis which we target upper income segments with premium brands in liquid and powder formats. These users are more receptive to environment-friendly products, and they would be willing to pay a premium as well, thus enabling us to adopt a price skimming for these premium liquids. While sustainable and premium products with enhanced prices can remain our core brand positioning, we would continue to have aggressive pricing in the bars and status quo pricing in the powder segment. So along with this pricing strategy and segment-wise product positioning, a strong need to promote the detergent not as a commodity or a regular household product, but as a niche brand centered around overall garment care would be required. Also, tie-ups with fashion players and D2C clothing brands would be the need of the hour to create a share of mind and share of voice amongst the consumers. I now hand over to Rishabh to discuss sustainability and financials.
Thank you, Piyush. Now we will be focusing on sustainability. We have divided sustainability into two disruptive forces. First, what ABC Limited can do to disrupt and promote sustainability. And secondly, how we can involve the customers in this sustainable journey. As you can see, there is a graph on the left-hand side. What we have done is that we have benchmarked ABC Limited against its competitors to understand what are the major sources of pollution. You can see from the graph, the biggest source of pollution is from inorganic chemicals like soda ash, followed by organic chemicals like surfactants, followed by packaging, which is dominated by plastic, and the last is the transportation and distribution, which consumes fossil fuels. So ABC Limited can introduce a targeted approach for all of these to combat pollution and thus push the cause of sustainability. Moving on, now we want to talk about how we can involve these customers in our sustainable journey. The innovative idea which we have come up is having an option of Pick My Plastic on an agnostic platform like PhonePe. The value chain is very simple. You go to PhonePe, click on Pick My Plastic, and you can then schedule your pickup of scraps. The workforce, which are of the rack pickers, will come on the scheduled time and pick up your plastic. This whole value chain can be taken control by an NGO. Now, the NGO will send the collected plastic to a recycle center of ABC Limited, where it will be again recycled and can be used captively, or it can be sold externally. Now, let's focus on what will be the outcome of the measures we have suggested. The price and the volume will be higher for liquid, as we have suggested earlier, followed by powder, followed by bars. The revenue can go up to 16,000 crores in 5 years, and gross profit margin can increase from 35% to 40%. That is our time. We, on the behalf of Indian School of Business, thank you, HUL, for this opportunity. Thank you so much. Now we are open for questions.
Yeah, okay, thanks, guys. I think it's a good session, and you've gone through the case well on time. What I'm trying to understand a little bit from your presentation is, what is the cost of sustainability? And how are you offsetting that in your P&L? It wasn't clear for me.
The way we look at it is, since ABC Limited is a market leader with 40% market share, and we have a good 35% gross margin as well, considering our position, I think if we increase our prices like by 5%, what we are projecting, we will be seen as we are already seen as a price setter, not a price taker. So if we are moving towards sustainability through the liquid segment, I think the competitors would follow us in that drive. And they would also be, since we are targeting only niche segments, like as I mentioned, we are targeting upper and upper middle households in this. And those will be the key drivers as far as the future of detergent is concerned. So I think basis that, the increase in prices would not actually lead to a volume loss for us in that sense.
I just have one follow-up question.
Please.
You mentioned that your whole strategy is to increase the liquid segment, right? And,
yes.
And to tap in more premium segment. I mean, the company already has 40% market share.
Yeah.
And let's say the market in which they operate, right? We are a low-income country. So how do you see that transition to happen from low income to people trying to consume? And there is mention that, of course, we're very sensitive to price inflation and all of that. So how do you see in what period this transition can happen?
You rightly said we currently have a 40% market share, but at the same time, the product mix, the liquids share in the product mix is only 10% as of now. And as we pointed out, we are moving towards development, right? And like India is moving towards development. And as people's income rise, people move, start owning more washing machines, get more disposable income. Women do not have more time. They're participating in the workforce more. So this all will lead to a gradual shift from, say, the bars to the powders, and the powders will move to the liquids. Of course, it's a gradual shift. We've captured this over a 5-year period from a 10% to a 20% contribution of liquids.
We will have to keep innovating, I'm assuming, the way you presented the entire case study. what would be there on the horizon beyond liquids, which you would want to spend money now in terms of R&D and technology to be future fit?
Right here, we were focusing only on retail users. But as Sagar pointed out, the whole Indian persona is shifting. Women are entering workforce and people are not having time to take care of washing their own clothes. So there is a segment coming up which is into commercial laundry. And we feel that commercial laundry can be a thing and we can look into it where we can have more concentrated products which will be a B2B product and directly sold to these kind of laundry companies which will be coming up in future.
Thanks for your presentation. One question is on the risk. I did not see any articulation on what could be the risk to this strategy going wrong. Did you guys discuss on that?
We are the price setter in the market and we are the market leaders. So we will be moving slow steps or small steps at the beginning to test how the market reacts. And then maybe we can take the larger steps. Yes, we didn't outline the risk given the time constraint, but we did think about it, that there can be a competition of price. But given again that we are the price leader, we don't expect a competition on price from the followers.
Another risk that we thought about here was that basically we'll be shifting our focus primarily to liquids, which means diverting our advertising and marketing budget more towards liquids. Now, this is a concentrated effort, and this is a risk that we discussed and perceived that if this does not sort of turn out as expected, it may have an impact on the other segments as well. So we did take into consideration, and our profit margin over the 5 years is only coming back to what it was before this entire increase in the crude oil prices and the material prices. So we haven't projected sort of an exceptional growth, and we have considered these factors.
So, team Triple Ace, a big round of applause. Next up, we have Team Ace of Spades from SP Jain Institute of Management and Research. May I invite the team members?
Before I even begin, let me take you quickly through the flow of our presentation. We'll begin with a quick overview of the situation, which you've already had, but we'll reiterate it. We'll go to our product and our solution. From there, we'll move to our go-to-market strategy. And from the go-to-market strategy, we'll go to the feasibility, which is the most important part. Now, the situation is, as we all know, unprecedented inflation has led to commodity prices being really high. At the same time, while top line is increasing, it's driven by underlying price growth and not volume increases. This is a clear issue. Our clear takeaways were keep product margins consistent, improve profitability, and at the same time, focus on sustainability. During our primary research, there's a couple of things we realized. While every consumer likes being sustainable and feels good to be sustainable, not everybody is willing to pay a premium for it. At the same time, convenience is what they look for. For a user, he doesn't want to worry about laundry. Another thing is he's skeptical whether sustainable products are as useful or as effective as their chemical counterparts. Presenting our solution, it's the Easy Earth Laundry Detergent Sheets. These are sheets of ultra-concentrated material that you tear, you throw, and you forget. Now, think of it in terms of convenience. When you think about liquid, you'd have to measure it out, you'd have to pour it in, you'd have to bang it against the washing machine to get every ounce of liquid out, and then you'd have to probably end up with chip. But what happens when you use a laundry detergent sheet? You tear it, you put it, and you forget it. That's what laundry detergent sheets are. It's also biodegradable, so there's nothing left for the end user. We have focused on convenience rather than sustainability because that's what we think is our foot in with the consumer. Now let's look at the cradle to grave of the Easy Earth sheets. Something that we are very focused on is the carbon rainbow. Making sure that raw materials are procured, we are converting from black carbon to green carbon as much as possible. In the manufacturing process itself, capture carbon, which is purple carbon, and use that as much as possible. Now, Easy Earth sheets would weigh around 70 grams for a package of 30 sheets, as opposed to 4 kgs of detergent. This would lead to a massive saving in the supply chain costs itself and the logistic costs. And last but not least, the packaging is biodegradable, and so is the product. So there's nothing left for the end user. I'll now hand it over to Nidhi.
Thank you, Arjun. In terms of positioning and based on our calculations, we understand that one wash costs somewhere around 17 rupees if you use pods, 14 rupees if you use liquids, and 8 rupees if you use powder. So we've positioned our product somewhere in between powder and liquids at 10 rupees. The future outlook of a product is we propose to introduce variants to this product based on very customer-specific requirements, such as whitening and fabric softener. Our segmentation is very customer specific. We have focused on working professionals who do not have a lot of time for laundry and want a very easy, convenient, hassle-free experience of laundry, and environmentally conscious people who would want to maximize each wash. In terms of promotion, we focused on sample distribution and banners in groceries and supermarkets, introducing access and trial packs to introduce them to new method of laundry, and influencer and social media platforms to introduce the idea of convenience and sustainability without any additional effort. I will request Vatsal to take financials.
Okay. Now we've seen that how Easy Earth creates value for the customers. Now we'll see how it creates value for us. Currently, the laundry division margins look something like this, as Manish mentioned. It earns a margin of 35% on gross basis, on a revenue of 100 rupees, which has to be priced at an MRP of 148 rupees. This is the margin we have to protect. With Easy Earth, we not only protect, but we increase it by 6% to 41% margin. And this is purely because of the sustainability cost savings. That is, we are able to reduce the packaging cost because of the lower volume, and the logistics cost massively, as much as 98%. Now, coming at the volumes forecast, based on the current volume of powder sold in the market and applying a 5% year-on-year volume growth for the next 4 years, and assuming that 1 in 20 users will switch to Easy Earth, we are able to arrive at a volume of 29.7 lakh packets a year. Based on these volumes and these prices, we arrive at a 5-year snapshot, which looks something like this. On a 5-year basis, we are able to achieve a GMV of 700 crores, a revenue of 473 crores, a gross contribution of 194 crores, and further assuming advertising and promotion spends of 120 crores and machinery capex of 30 crores, we are able to achieve a net profit of 44 crores, giving us an ROI of 17.81% in just 5 years. So with this, we see that the product is feasible not just for the consumer, but for the planet as well as us. I would now like to hand over to Arjun for closing remarks.
Thanks, Vatsal. I'm excited by the product. And what's really exciting is we're cleaning the world by just cleaning our laundry. Think about it. How easy it is to just throw a strip or put a strip in a washing machine and not worry about anything else.
Okay, well done, team. I have to say, really well done on the consumer insight. You've got the key consumer insights in, as we see. I see also that you've done your homework. The reality is sheets is one of the fastest growing categories in laundry globally. So I think you're onto something here. I guess there was one key assumption that was there in your sheet or in your slide, which was that the price per sheet will be cheaper than a liquid detergent. Is that an assumption you made? Is that what you got when you researched Alibaba sheets, and what was it?
So a couple of the sheets we did look at in the market were the True Earth sheets, and Better Home is the one that's doing it in India. It's a small player, but it's still doing it. So when we looked at their costs and we looked at our costs, that's the number we landed up with. Because let's say a sheet can be split into half per load. So each sheet should actually be able to give you 2 loads. So this is how the market also is priced it as of today.
A lot of numbers and a lot of kind of detail you guys have tried to put it together. And you believe that the consumer shift can happen over a period of time?
That's exactly right, sir. It's a consumer shift. It's a consumer behavior change. When HUL introduced detergent powders back in the 1950s, they went door to door. You went door to door. And we understand how difficult that can get. But we truly believe this is not a 5-year game. It's a long-term game. It's a change that we want to bring in because ultimately sustainability is the new profitability. It's demanded across every vendor you work with. It's demanded across the industry today.
Nidhi, question to you on your pricing. Why would you price this, which is giving more convenience, at a discount to liquids?
So by discount to liquid, if you mean lower than liquids, of course, because we want essentially that exact shift from liquid to the strips and make it more of an everyday thing. I think right now more and more consumers are using liquids as the definition of convenient laundry, and we would want that to shift to strips as convenient laundry. So,
second linked question, do you feel confident with such high amount of A&P expenses for consumer acquisition, and that will go down over 5 years' time that tremendously?
We do. Purely because as a user itself, right, of course we prep for the competition. But when we actually got the idea we were really excited to try it ourselves. Unfortunately, we didn't have access. So we really believe once the user does start using it, there's no going back. So the customer acquisition cost over time should go down because of how convenient and how useful the product is.
One question on the global landscape. The use cases that you would have researched on the global front, any pitfalls that you think this company should not do? Because there's not necessary everything should be trial by fire. You can just see things from a distance and figure out. So anything that is a red alert for the company that you would advise?
Yeah, so a great question, clearly stumped us for 10 seconds there. But what we really truly believe is when you look at Surf Excel, right, daag achhe hain. It means you can go out in the market or you can go out, play with confidence and not have your clothes get dirty. Surf Excel will take care of it. We may not be the same level of cleanliness because ultimately we're using a very small sheet. Of course, users could put a couple of sheets in depending on the load. So the one red flag we do see is users may not see it as potent as a Surf Excel. But with increased amount of R&D also, we may be able to bring it to the same level as a powder or liquid detergent.
Maybe your tagline should be sheet achhe hain.
That's a great point, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well done, Team Aces of Spades. Let's welcome our next team on the stage, Team ISB Fantastics from the Indian School of Business.
So the problem statement that was given to us showcased that there's a stress on the profitability in the laundry category, primarily because of the increased crude oil prices, which are also highly volatile in nature. Now, the obvious choice of passing on the prices to our customers is not viable here because of the highly price-elastic customer segment that we cater to. Which is why the main objective here is that ABC Limited requires a strategy to remain competitive, that's one, and B, deliver value to its customers. So we started by doing a primary survey in the Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities to about 50 participants and realized that about 50% of them would actually try out a natural product if it was available, given it was at a price competitive to the current offerings. Which is why we came up with a target audience, right? The educated working professionals who are in the 25 to 55 age category, who are in the middle to high income segment, and are in the Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities, right? So the user persona is any parent who's also a very who spends a lot of time parenting as well as is a working professional and wants to do something to impact positively to the environment and just doesn't know how to. That's where our product comes in. We also realized that these customers require both the liquid detergent and the detergent powder, which is why we're going ahead with both of them. And the distribution network is primarily the modern trade and e-commerce with a pinch of general trade. So looking at the major competitors, we notice on the top left of the screen, we notice that except for Ariel, none of them have actually taken out major sustainability initiatives. And Ariel right now also has not taken out a sustainable product in any form. It's just educating them, which is why the market is fairly open for us to enter. Now, if you look at the sustainable market and analyze some forces, which is on the top right of the screen, looking at the supplier power. The supplier power will go to be extremely low, and that's exactly what we need, right? Earlier, we were facing a decrease in margins because of high crude oil prices. Now that we switched to a sustainable new input, we will go away from a commoditized product. So the supplier power comes extremely low, and that's great for us, right? The threat of new entrants here is also extremely low because of the high capex that's required in this business.
The second constituent of synthetic detergent is benzene, which is 100% biodegradable, but crude oil price changes impact the prices of benzene, so it impacts the margin of the business. We aim to replace them with bioagents in the form of citrus, which would act as builders. Citrus would be produced by fermentation of waste from corn and molasses. Similarly, we also aim to replace benzene with rampnolipid, which will act as a biosurfactant through fermentation of waste cooking oil. Both these are bioagents, so they are completely biodegradable. They are also insensitive to any commodity price changes as they are prepared from waste. Now, from secondary research, we have found that bio-detergents or bio-agents have comparable cleaning action to synthetic detergents with a better hand care and fabric care properties. We also found that we are also solving an environmental solution because untreated food waste is a major environmental problem which causes soil pollution. And oil poses a major barrier to anaerobic digestion, and because rhamnolipid is produced from by fermentation of waste cooking oil, we are able to increase the recyclability of food wastage. As we are introducing a new product, there would be many key factors which would require to be constantly monitored. The major one of them is customer product feedback. It is very important to analyze the type of feedback that you're getting from customers, whether you're able to deliver the value proposition or not. Moving on.
All right, so we'll just talk about the unit economics of the new product line. Initially, we'll price it at 175 rupees per kg, which is like the average of powders and liquids. We'll increase the trade spends from the current 9% to around 14%, considering that distributors might command higher margins to push down the product. The supply chain cost will increase as a percent of revenue from around 65% to around 81%, considering that these are expensive raw materials initially. But and this is primarily pushed by the raw material cost, but over a period of time, we expect it to come down to roughly around 55% of the revenue. Considering these are non-commoditized products, we are expecting huge volumes here, because of which we'll focus on bulk procurement. In terms of the gross margin, pre-cannibalization, it'll be roughly around 45%, but we are expecting some cannibalization from the existing product line, which would bring the incremental gross margin post-cannibalization to around 26%. Talking about the financials at a macro level, at the product level itself, we are initially projecting a turnover of around 135 crores for the first year, which will grow to around 1178 crores by the fifth year at a CAGR of around 72%. Completely backed by huge volumes. There's marginal price increase in the fourth and the fifth year of around 1%. We will continuously spend on R&D, which is around 5% of the revenue, because we constantly want to evolve the raw material composition to make it better every single day. In terms of the marketing spend, it'll be significantly higher for the first couple of years, considering it's a new product. Once it's established, we'll constantly bring it down gradually. We'll start with a negative bottom line for the first couple of years, but we'll break even in the third year, and we'll be profitable the fourth year onwards. In a nutshell, this is a financially viable and operationally feasible method to introduce sustainability into the laundry market. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, team ISB. I guess the main question I have is the impact of this on company ABC. Company ABC is operating in a 30,000 crore market, 45 share, so it's a 16,000 crore company. This is hardly going to make any impact on the business. So how is this solving the bigger problem that ABC has?
A couple of things here. Firstly, out of the 30,000 home care market, laundry is around 5,000 crores. And what we've projected at a 5-year mark is roughly around 1,200 crores, which is roughly 1/4, so 25% of that level. And from a 5-year period, it'll continue to grow. Maybe not at the same rate as we had predicted for the first couple of years, like 100% growth, but roughly, assuming a 20 to 30% growth. And so the idea is basically to, introduce this as a biodegradable alternative and then replace the existing product in the laundry market, which could happen over a period of time. But a very specific answer to your question is we've targeted 25% turnover at the 5-year mark, which will continue to grow.
I have a simple question. You kind of talked about replacing the raw material, right, from soda ash and benzene to newer components. Have you factored in terms of building the whole supply chain, and what's the impact of that, because the kind of quantity the company may need, right? That may again then have an impact on the whole kind of supply chain of the product price of those raw material which we want to now go after, and how much feasible it is to kind of build that in the shortest possible time frame to your mind.
What we have seen from our secondary research is that bio agents are more effective than synthetic agents, and they require to be used in lesser quantity. So that is why we expect the volume of transportation for raw materials to actually go down. But initially what we have made in our assumption is that we have taken a conservative estimate, because we are starting off with a new product and new raw material sourcing. So on a per unit basis, we have taken a 20% incremental cost on the supply chain side. But moving on, what we aim to do is that as the volumes grow on, we aim to achieve economies of scale, and that is something that is not possible in a commoditized raw material segment. In this particular segment, if there is possibility for us to produce it in-house, and when we are producing it in-house, then there is a lot more possibility of achieving cost efficiencies.
I could not help but spend a lot of time on your financials, and probably some of the time I'm going to spend with Deepak later on. Can I really run a 1,300 crore business with a 10 crore A&P investment? I was not very sure. So just talk me through, in case I hope I got your numbers right. The gross sales value, rupees crore, financial year 27 is 1,300 crore. Did I get it right?
Right.
Year 5, TV spends, digital spends, and hence total marketing expense 10 crore. Did I get that right?
Right.
Do you think it makes sense? By spending 10 crore, can I run a 1,300 crore business?
You are a very established, by you I mean ABC company, is a very established household brand, 30,000 crores in the home care market, operating in 3 different segments. So you already are at the, if I talk about the IDA funnel, you're already beyond the awareness and the interest stage. Awareness is 100% almost for your product. What you just need to do, you're just doing a brand extension or a product extension sort of a thing. If I translate into the marketing funnel, it's more of a brand extension, right? So the kind of, I mean, it might be on a lower side, but I mean, it's not significantly lower is how I would put it, because all you need to do is just introduce a new alternative to an existing product, which is environmentally sustainable. That's all you need to sell, to my mind. No one needs to, you have that brand loyalty and trust already running in every household. That's the...
Thank you.
Hi, so ABC Limited has 360-degree pressure, okay? Macro and micro. What is your elevator pitch to be? What is your Eureka slide in this entire presentation that I will actually, thumb the table and say, let's go for it?
So what we are trying to propose is that by introducing a biodegradable agent, we are not only providing a richer value proposition to the customer, but we are also delinking the link of commodity prices to our cost of goods sold. And through that, if we are able to achieve incremental volume, we could then again look to capture on the economies of scale and make our margins even higher as compared to what we were able to do before. So now, because the raw materials are commoditized, there is limited economies of scale benefit that we can derive out of it, because we cannot drive the commodity prices that are there in the market.
Well, thank you, Team ISB Fantastics. Good luck. You may take your seats. And now we are at the last leg of this competition. Let's put our hands together for the final presentation for the evening team survivors from the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad.
So I'll start off with the overview where we analyze the current goals and the obstacles that we're facing. So the obstacles are particularly the rising costs, then the focus on sustainability for which the consumers may not want to shell out enough money, and also a risk of losing market share because of the rising price, the rising cost, which we might want to cover with our prices. So our problem statement particularly today is to preserve our margins and also move towards the sustainability goal that we have. So we move on to the first phase where we will be focusing on popular and premium segments and the automatic detergents, which we particularly focus throughout the presentation, while also targeting our aforementioned problems here. So we projected that there will be a shift in the distribution, entire distribution with a decline in the mass market and more increasing proportions of the popular and premium segmentation. The projected percentage rise, as you can see, for the popular is about 8.1% CAGR and 7.4% CAGR for premium segment. Both of these are expected to rise at a higher average growth in the market as compared to the average laundry growth size, which is projected to be about 6%. We focus particularly on the automatic detergents, as mentioned here, because of the very high CAGR that we see. We have projected that, and it is easy also to introduce the sustainability goals through these products that we want. And also, these products form about 25% of the current market. So a product split is also done keeping in mind the target segments that we want, and by introducing products that bring innovation, that bring sustainability, and also are competitive in the market. Further, we'll move on to the go-to-market strategy that comprises our product portfolio, the pricing, the packaging and distribution channels, and our advertising motives. So our product portfolio looks this way. Continuing with the already existing mass market products that we have, and further introducing a higher level premium and popular targeted product chain, which includes an organic washing liquid and a scented washing powder, and later throughout the stages, a fabric softener. These will be the products in our immediate focus within the phase 1, and the pricing has been done as mentioned here. We introduce these products at this competitive pricing, and future scalability also involves laundry aids that we want to focus and price thereafter within our phase 2 of the entire the channel of products that we want to introduce. And we want to introduce this entire portfolio keeping in mind the goals of sustainability, and also to provide a portfolio to aim at our premium consumer segment. I'd like to hand over now to Ashwini.
Thank you, Ishita. Now, sustainability is an important focus for our company, and packaging is one such area where there is tremendous potential. So a few initiatives which we plan to launch are refillable stations in outlets like supermarkets, where consumers can just simply go in and take the bottle and fill in laundry detergent. And a pilot on this is currently being done in Mumbai itself. And secondly, we plan to tie up with companies and startups which provide paper-based and biodegradable packaging material, which will help reduce our plastic consumption. So the image on the right, which you see, is of a company called Ecologic, which produces these biodegradable packaging material. And there are other firms which are doing excellent work in this arena. Now, for channels, so traditionally, nearly 80% of the sales for the laundry industry in India has been through traditional grocery retailers. But for our new products, we plan to focus a lot more on modern trade and e-commerce for two simple reasons. Firstly, better margins. And secondly, it ties well with our target customer segment, which is modern premium consumers. So to quickly summarize, we focus on two aspects: safety and hygiene, and sustainability, which will form the foundation of our advertising strategy. Siddhant?
Yeah. So now I'll take over and discuss the financials of our strategy. So first, we'll be discussing the unit economics of the 3 products that we are planning on launching. And I've mainly focused on 3 parameters. First is packaging, then advertising, and trade spend. So as Ashwini mentioned, we are looking to go for sustainable packaging, mainly for fabric softener and washing liquid in the first phase, and that will incur a higher cost. So that is why we have to factor the higher margin for that. The second is advertising and the trade spend, which is actually the discount that we need to go give initially. In the immediate year of launch, we'll basically be seeing margins in the range of 8 to 11%. But then years down the line, we expect that we'll be able to reduce our costs of advertising, trade spends, and then our margins will be increasing. Moving to the financial projections of the entire company. So we forecast that our market share will grow up to 45.5% by the end of financial year 2028. So I'd like to draw your attention to the immediate year, which is FY23, where we'll have to increase the retailer and the distributor margins. We'll have to increase our trade spends and our spends on advertising and R&D. Now, as we all know, there is inflationary pressure on the raw materials. So in the short term, those will also weigh on our margins. But in the longer term, we can look at tying those using forward or futures contracts. And basically, I forecast that the percentage as sales would go down. One thing to point out is that our gross margin is basically on sales and not on turnover here.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. And I'm just trying to make sense of your proposal. So let me just play it back, and then I have a question. So the idea you have is to launch an organic washing liquid, a scented washing powder, and a fabric softener. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
And these 3 launches, how big are they going to be? Because you went straight from this into the total company P&L.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to get a sense how material these 3 launches are going to be.
So I think from the cost perspective, there will be material because we are spending on R&D, advertising. From the sales perspective, we have not actually been able to forecast the exact sales that we'll be getting from these particular products. But going down the line, I think they will take over most of our portfolio because we'll have to move from the normal washing powder and the washing liquid to these products.
Okay, thank you.
So I think I see again too many assumptions. Know, the new products which you intend to launch, I see a significant price increase in your assumptions to say it will go up by 66% on the softener and the washing powder, by 50% and 70% on the washing liquid. Yeah. You know, one is how do you see the sensitivity of the customer with such significant price increase on a product which is required on a day-to-day basis? And I couldn't gather anything as to, you know, what's the basis of ABC gaining the market share, and for them to gain the market share, what is the incremental effort they need to make? Because if they're only going to focus on premium product, they're going to lose the Bharat in a way, the rural market where the competition is very high, intensive. So what's your strategy on that?
If you look at our pricing, it is very competitive in terms of the products that we have. So I'll take the example of a washing liquid. So if you look at a similar product from Mamaearth or an IFB, it is actually twice of what we have priced it at. IFB, like Mamaearth is priced at 600 per liter. So that is what our price we have forecasted 6 years down the line. And if you look at the current inflationary environment, it is basically 10% per annum at which the prices are increasing. And also, I'll take examples of consumer discretionary industry and also the FMCG industry. If you look at the past 2 quarters, like the customers have taken the price increases pretty well. We have seen record increases in revenues of the FMCG companies and also the consumer discretionary sectors. And secondly, like if you look at the demographics of India also, there's been a shift from single earning member in families to more and more women actually getting into the workforce and the household's income increasing significantly. So, and also if you look at people, like this is mostly happening in the metro countries where metro cities where we'll be targeting our launches because we are focusing on the modern trade and the e-commerce. So there I think the customers would be more able to take these price increases down the line.
In the growth which you have from 12,000 to 19,500 over 5-6 years time, what is your strategy between driving volume growth and price growth? How would you split that?
So I think price growth is something that will depend upon the adoption of the product also. And as we also mentioned, there would be a phase 2 of our launch also, which consists of laundry pots and spot and stain remover. Now coming to the pricing part of it, I think that what I've written is in nominal terms. But if we look at it in real adjusted terms based on the like inflation environment and the interest rate environment, I don't foresee that that will be a very big contributor, the price growth, but the volume growth will be what will be sustaining our margins and also the growth in sales.
Just wanted to understand your thought process at a time when ABC is under dire straits. What is the logic of launching 3 strategies at the same time, 3 products, you know, the liquid, the powder and the softener? Was there any market research, any customer preference survey that was undertaken at this point in time to understand whether he or she is actually willing to pay for something just with the name organic, because that would mean a price point change? And why 3 at a time when you know that focusing on the current segment itself is a challenge?
Based on the environment that we are given, we are already a market leader. So we don't want to lose market share. And that is why we focused on 3 main products. And also if we look at the market size of this segment that we are focused on, it is basically 25% of the market that we are targeting using the automatic detergent segment, as was called out. So, and another major reason for going for it was because if we look at the sustainability initiatives that we have implemented, that is basically the change in 2 of the products, which is basically the fabric softener and the washing liquid. It is mostly the same, that we'll have to go and tie up with a startup, and the packaging initiative that we are undertaking will mostly be the same across both the products. So it is not a lot of extra effort to actually implement that across the 2 products. And coming to the organic washing powder, I think that is a very big chunk that we cannot leave out when we are considering a product launch. So that is why we decided to include that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, survivors. All right, our jury has come to a consensus, and we have all the scores tabulated here. We got to witness a very close contest, and now it's time to find out which team has won over the judges and also the huge prize. I'm quite excited, and I'm going to welcome Sandip, Khetan, and Deepak Subramanian to present the third runner-up of Hindustan Unilever Limited FinAce Season 6. Can I have you both on the stage, please? Coming in at 4th place of FinAce Season 6 is Team Survivors from Ahmedabad. Big round of applause for Siddhant Agrawal, Ishita Sinha, and Ashwini Kumar. To give away the award for the second runner-up of the evening, please welcome on stage Ritesh, Tiwari, and Lakshmi Iyer. Put your hands together for the team finishing third this evening, Team ISB Fantastics, Shashwat Majumdar, Amitesh Bector, and Abhishek Vashisht. Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you so much. Ritesh, may I ask you to stay back on stage, please? So now we are down to the final two. And, all right, I'm not going to make it more painful. All right, so may I invite back on stage Deepak Subramanian to give away the second place award along with Ritesh. All right, can we have the drum rolls ready, please? The team that has finished second place on the 6th season of FinAce is Team Triple Ace from ISB, which means the winner of Hindustan Unilever Limited FinAce Season 6 is Team Aces of Spade. But may I first invite Team Triple Ace to the stage, please. Piyush Agrawal, big round of applause. Rishabh Agrawal and Sagar Motani. From ISB, Team Triple Ace for you. And presenting now the winners of Hindustan Unilever Limited FinAce Season 6, Team Aces of Spade from SP Jain, Arjun Jai Krishna, Nidhi Joshi, and Vatsal Doshi. A big round of applause and congratulations to our winner. They'll be taking home the winner's trophy and the coveted prize of 3 lakhs rupees. Congratulations to the winning team, of course, and all the finalists who made it here today. Special mention to the jury. Thank you so much. And now for a collective picture together. So can I request all the finalists to please come on stage and join the judges. Congratulations once again to all the winners and the participants of the finale today. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. You've been a wonderful audience as well. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Hindustan Unilever Limited presents FinAce Season 6.